Okay, everybody, welcome to the stream. Get started. Okay. Just making sure everything looks okay. And streaming all looks good. I am not sure what's going on here. Let's try serving this again. I just finished upgrading a whole bunch of stuff, and it seems to be freezing when I run the serve development. I've had this problem before. Let's see. If I look right now, my terminal is not doing anything. And I'm just looking to see if I've got like any orphaned node processes right now. Ooh, I do have a few. Let's kill some Node.js. Oh, that one killed that one. Killed that one, and now let's see what happened. Anyway, yeah, it's interesting. They're both just kind of freezing. Hey, Jan! Good to have you, and TBD Gamer. Good to have both of you here. Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm glad to see you can make it, Jan. We had, oh, look at that. Look at that. So, I'm not sure what's going on here. But Windows has decided that it wants to just give me a whole bunch of windows to hang out. And so I'm over here cleaning up console hosts and stuff. Yeah, go ahead and shut that down. Shut that one down. Shutting down this one will make Windows unstable. I guess if it gets unstable, then it's unstable. Yeah, it's unstable. Let's go ahead and relaunch that. I don't know what's going on with this. But we're back up and going. So now let's do our serve again. And I don't know why it gets into this state where we've just got a whole bunch of stuff just hanging out. We've got the terminal. This is a fun way to start, having all of my stuff frozen. What do I have that's taking up CPU right now? This console host right here. Goodbye. There we go. Windows is the worst. For a lot of there are things that frustrate me about Mac. And the biggest thing that frustrates me about like Mac is the home and the end keys. They behave differently depending on the application that you're in and depending on who writes the application. So like in your browser, if you're editing something and you hit the home key on a Mac, it jumps to the top of the page, which is a fun thing to have happen. In a Mac, it's command left and right arrows to go to the beginning and end of a line for a lot of things. And so that frustrates me to no end, but I will agree, like debugging Windows issues like this be frustrating. I don't want to, I don't know. We'll just leave it at that. Try again. Let's just see pnpm nx. Instead of serving, let's just build log and see if it builds. Like this command runs. Now if I look at what's taking up my CPU, oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, so that worked. We're in a better place. Cannot find module pages this. So let's see if it will serve now and at least give me that error. I'm curious, cannot find pages home header component analog. Interesting. I wonder if it's this error that's causing analog to get into a bad state, and it's because right now I can't even break out of my terminal or anything like that. Let's go see if we can figure out what's going on with this. Let's go see if we can figure out what's going on with this error. And maybe analog is serving. I don't know what's going on. But cannot find module pages home header component analog or its declaration. Marcus, welcome. ngconf was amazing. And I was actually going over some of the stuff from ngconf. This is the other thing I wanted to take a look at. I disabled SSR early on in this project. I'd like to turn it back on. But I was going over like the sessions from ngconf. And ngconf was really, really good. I got to spend a lot of good time talking with just people in the hallways, at lunch, and things like that, which is always amazing. Had a really good time with Jan. Jan's really fun to talk to. Had some really good advice for me too. So I really appreciate that. Can an analog component be exported from the pages folder? I don't know. That's it was working before, but I upgraded this morning. So I'm not sure. The keynote was really, really cool. Gave us a good insight into the into what's coming up in Angular. Jeremy and Miko are always good. Not mentioned here is Jessica, who kind of crashed the end of the keynote. If you guys haven't seen the keynote, you should go check it out. The keynote was particularly exciting because the company that I work for was featured in quotes in the keynote. We've spent some time, and when I say we, there's really one person in particular. There have been a lot of people helping, but there is one person at our company in particular who has been spearheading a lot of these Angular upgrades, and he's just been amazing. And he provided a whole bunch of stats and information to Miko. It's public information now, so I can talk about it. But moving to control flow improved the LCP in our Angular by 1 second across the board. Everybody knows you're good looking, Jan. That's why I don't have to say it. It's like, if I say Jan is good looking, that's like saying the sky is blue, man. But yeah, so moving to control flow improved our LCP by 1 second across the board, um, which was crazy. We didn't expect to see that kind of improvement. The next thing we did is we had a styles library that was causing our bundles to be bigger. We were having trouble shaking that styles library out. Um, so this person, and I don't want to call them out because I haven't asked permission to use their name, but I was on a call with the guy who's been spearheading a lot of this, and we were talking and came up with an idea. What if we wrap all of these? And the issue we were having was that in the application that Bill uses, there are a lot of lit web components, and so they were registering those web components. Well, what if we use defer to load those web components later? And so, we threw defer around a couple of things, and then we deferred the loading of those web components. And the crazy thing about it is, once that happened, Webpack was able to make some intelligent decisions. Are we still using Webpack? We might be using ESBuild. The bundler was able to make some intelligent decisions about how to break up the bundles. And so our initial bundle size decreased by like 90% just by throwing in some defers and deferring those. It was mind blowing. And it's been running that way in production for a while now. And it was all made possible by some stuff they talked about in the keynote, which was amazing. And so, then we stuck around and watched Laura talk about deferring code loading. And then Emma and Mark did. It was actually pretty funny. Emma and Mark have a fun, I don't know, energy between them. And they play off of each other so well that this news thing was funny. And you had Mark changing hats, and you had Emma interviewing herself side by side with her face blurred out. And Jessica showed up in this one too, doing a live traffic update, standing outside the hotel, saying that, yeah, there's traffic on the road in front of the hotel. It was really funny. This one was fun to watch. And then this is one of my favorites, where Mike Hardington talked about CSS view transitions and using those along with Angular, and Angular animations along with view transitions. This one gave me a lot of things to think about. Michael Hladky, or Michal Hladky, this talk was not Angular specific. And once this talk is available, I highly recommend this talk. It's very, very there's a lot of theory in it. But he's talking about the building blocks for building applications, and how you can use state effects, and I need to go back to my notes on this one. This one was really good. It's the 3 building blocks for building any kind of architecture. But it really simplifies architecture and allows you to think about how data should flow through your application. And he works on RX Angular, but he was very use whatever tools make the most sense for you to manage your state. Use your effects, and so many good things came out of that talk. I've got a lot of notes, and I've been talking to my team about it. Very good talk. And then the Angular Plus show, I faced off against. Did I face off against Jan? They only allowed me to go once because they said I cheated, which I rang in before I finished answering the question. Um, but the Angular Plus show beat us anyway, so it doesn't matter that I cheated. We needed to cheat more, so we could win. Yeah, Jan, you were cheating. But yeah, I knew, my old man reflexes weren't going to beat Jan. I got to get in there quick. But it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun doing Family Feud with the Angular Plus show. Really great podcast. Really fun to talk to them and just, definitely you guys should listen to them. They're a lot of fun to listen to. If you're ever invited to be on their show, always a good time. They're always just really welcoming, a lot of fun to talk to. Highly recommend, following and just, doing whatever you can with the Angular Plus show. They're a lot of fun. And then server-side rendering, I actually missed this one. I wanted to see this one. Was it not? What was I doing? I can't remember. But I caught the last little bit of this one. I did catch Raphael's talk. Raphael was showing a lot of things that we've been doing on stream for a while now, but he had really good reasons about why to do it. And Raphael's talk was a lot about taking decorators out of Angular and using the host elements to replace those decorators. Very, very good talk. And then Marco has created two of my favorite libraries. So you guys know for a long time I've been a component store person. Recently I've switched over to Signal Store. Marco has been a big part of both of those libraries. And so Marco's talk on state management, he talked about the Signal State and then got into Signal Store. Very, very, very good talk. And if you guys want to understand like Signal State and Signal Store, this replay will be the one to catch when it's available. Then, man, this guy Jan, I don't know who he is. No. Marco's good looking too. Yeah, absolutely. The reactivity in Angular applications. Jan got up there and talked about where you should use signals and where you should use observables, and why his opinion matters because of this funny little thing called race conditions, right? He started out his talk by saying, Angular has race conditions solved. And then he goes into the granularity of, it was really, really good take on, signals versus observables. Really, I don't like this framing of signals versus observables because, and I think Jan's talk also went over this, that you need both. It's really not signals versus observables. It's really signals and observables, and figuring out where to use each is an important skill. And I agree with what Jan said in his talk, that signals should be template, because they give certain guarantees to the template and allow the template to make certain decisions that makes Angular smarter. And observables should be handling everything asynchronous, like your HTTP, your user inputs, and things like that. And if you use those two and marry them together, then you're going to have a good time. You're probably not going to create race conditions. It was a very good talk. Highly recommend it. We all like a good versus. Yeah. It just it sells better this way. And it does, right? Everybody we've got to have the clickbait titles, right? And I do it myself with streams and stuff. But this one was very, very good. I highly recommend. Like, we went from view transitions to architecture with Angular to server-side rendering to host elements to the signal store, and then to signals versus observables. And like that chunk of time was worth the price of the ticket. That was such a good, just boom, talk. And I'm like, oh, that's my new favorite talk. Oh, no, that one's my new favorite talk, right? It was just an amazing chunk of time. After this, I went in with Katerina, and I got she did a workshop on how you can use ChatGPT plus your documentation to provide a chatbot on your site. And she showed how NX did it. And so NX has a chatbot on their site that you can go check out. And she walked us through, like, she didn't go through all of it. I was talking to her a little bit afterwards about jailbreaking her chatbot. But the way they're using embeddings makes jailbreaking more difficult, which I really liked. I liked the way that they were using embeddings in this. This was a really good workshop. But because of it, I didn't look into PWAs too much. Well, I wasn't there for that one. And I wasn't there also for the refactoring. But this one, really, really good, especially if you enjoy LLMs like I do. A lot of fun. I don't know if they're going to rebroadcast this one. But Jeff was there in the front row. And when you get Jeff and Katerina together, they're hilarious together. So really fun workshop. But then we got into the next day. And route guards, this was an interesting talk. I only caught a little bit of it, but very, very good talk. This is one that I need to rewatch because there were some interesting ideas here that I want to explore a little bit more. John Lindquist. Wasn't John Lindquist. Was this John Lindquist? I don't remember. Oh, he's behind Egghead. Jan's being modest. Yeah, he struggled a little bit in the beginning trying to get his markup to draw marbles diagrams going, but he got it working. And the nice thing was drawing the marbles diagrams allows you to see visually, like RxJS is very timeline based, right? And a lot of the RxJS operators don't make sense without that time-based component, especially things like delay or zip, or I'm just trying to come up with operators that have a time-based component to them, right? With latest from, things like that. They don't make a lot of sense unless you have that time-based element to them. So yeah, he struggled a little bit getting his marbles diagrams up and going. And And I think his demo, I think your demo didn't work, right? I don't remember. So yeah, okay. John Lindquist. Oh yeah. I know who he is. Okay. I didn't see this one. I'll be honest. But actually, in the morning, the community keynote was really really good. We got to hear from like NX. We got to hear from Brandon Roberts. We got to hear from. Was it Marco who did the? No, who did the NGRX stuff? It wasn't Marco. But the community keynote was great because it went over all of the amazing projects that are making Angular better in the community. The highlights from this one being, for me, the analog talk by Brandon, the NGRX signals talk. It wasn't Marco who did the signals talk. It was Alex Akrushko, the one who did it. But he went over Signal Store and Signal State again. Really, really good. And then the NX keynote was, it was awesome. Having Katerina and Jeff dressed up in matching outfits, and it was just, they did a good way of portraying kind of almost like cringe videos, but it was really good the way they did it. It was really funny. And then, Matthew Riegler, he was a lot of fun. And he's the #1 community contributor to Angular, which is usually a good way to no longer be a community contributor because they usually pick you up. But he had a lot of really good insights into how to contribute, where to start contributing. And he also brought some cheese with him from France that was pretty good. Got to try some at lunch. SSR, this was a big one. This was where they announced that Wiz and Angular's SSR are looking at what it would mean to merge. And this is where they were talking about getting streaming into Angular similar to what happens with Quick. So this was an incredible talk, and a lot of good information here. Dan Wallin talking about the new control flow. I was talking to him about it in the hallway, and they specifically told him, you can't talk about defer. He's like, how can I talk about control flow and its superpowers without defer? So, this was a good talk, but they were allowing other people to talk about defer, and so it was kind of funny talking to him about the talk. And then Brandon's talk on Angular and analog. We've been using analog, so but it was good to hear his insights into the meta framework. Bullying. What? How did you get modded for that? They highlighted Egghead? How did you get modded for that? That's hilarious. So I thought that was a private message because of the way it had marked it, but no, it modded you, Jan, for bullying. Dude, as a DevRel, you can't be doing that kind of stuff. He literally typed out. So so I was trying to remember John Lindquist, and Jan was giving me the heads up that, hey, he's he's at Egghead.io, and he got modded for that. That's hilarious. Yeah, your slides crashed, your demo crashed, WebStorm crashed. Everything was crashing. That's the great thing about trying to do stuff live. Just like me at the very beginning, all of my stuff is crashing, and I don't think we're even serving still. No, we're still frozen here. But anyway, yeah, Marcus, thank you for reminding me to go through ngconf. If you guys have any questions, or if you want to share your favorite stuff, I mean, we know Jan's favorite is definitely his talk. But if anybody else, if you guys want to share, and Jan's free to share too. Yeah, so that was ngconf. So let's dig into our code. And yesterday, I installed the WebStorm beta for a very specific reason. And I have to disable my firewall because my router likes to do a port scan in the middle of me streaming, and that port scan tends to cause issues. So the rainbow brackets is now updated to the beta stuff. So we get that upgraded. And I'm running the beta, so there might be a few issues. Yeah, the NX plugin needs to be updated for the stuff that they've done in the beta. So it's telling me, hey, NX is using a deprecated. Anyway, the reason I did it is I was talking to Jan and then Piotr. Piotr? Yeah, it's Piotr. He's the guy who works on the analog plugin. But to be able to run the analog plugin, we have to be in the beta release of WebStorm. So we're on the beta today. So if we get errors or things like that, it's probably because like my plugins haven't been totally updated for WebStorm and things like that. I'm expecting to see a few things. But we do have the plugin installed now, and so now we're getting better code highlighting. It would be nice. I spent some time looking yesterday for like a prettier extension that we could use. There is a little bit of weirdness going on right now, and I mean we're in a very, very early pre-release. I don't think it's been heavily tested, right? So these imports with the width on them, it's not recognizing them. Well, it kind of is, right? Because here we're saying, hey, import router link, and so router link is working down here, and it shows that it's working. So it recognizes that the router link is imported, but for whatever reason, like my main article, it doesn't know what the main article tag is. And I think it has to do with this new syntax, the with syntax. Although, I don't know. I'm not sure what's causing it, but because of that, it's telling me that, hey, the article is not provided by directives on main article. We know it's provided by main article because we've got this input, right? We've got a required input on it, and we're using that input in our code. Oh, look at that. This was something I wanted to talk about today. But already WebStorm is like, hey, you're using source. You should really look into using ngSource. And that gives us the optimized image directive. We're going to take a look at that today. There are a couple of things I want to do. But that's really cool. Now that I've got, Well, this is interesting. So I'm not injecting any, I'm not using any components here. This is kind of a base component. So it understands, well, having WebStorm understand this now allows it to use the Angular analyzers too. And so if you guys have WebStorm, go check out the beta. The analog plugin's just right there on the market. And if you're using analog already, I'm getting some benefit here. It's understanding my Angular, it's properly highlighting it. And we'll see today that we'll also be getting, we'll be getting completions and things like that. And down here in my style tags, it's giving me my CSS highlighting. It's telling me, hey, this is weird the way you're indenting here, but I want this all aligned so that I can visualize my template areas. It's still, I think. So we've still got some issues around. So these like colors.base100 and theme, this is all Tailwind, and I do have the Tailwind plugin installed. So if we look, yeah, see, I've got my Tailwind stuff installed. So it may not recognize inside of the style tag that, hey, we need to be using Tailwind too. So I'm not sure what's going on here. Actually, I can look. No. So yeah, my error is a little bit off. The issue, again, we're in this plugin is in the, I think it was 0.1. If we go take a look. So we're using a lot of pre-release stuff here, right? This is maintained by the WebStorm team. So yeah, the initial setup of the plugin. Just to be super correct, we did the initial setup of the plugin, mostly Piotr. Yeah, but then we handed it over to the analog team, and it's fully open source. Is it listed in the LSP widget below? No. This is maintained by. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Analog. I needed to look at what Jan was saying in the stream, and I'm glad that Jan is here. If you guys don't know, Jan is the he's the WebStorm DevRel. He's out there. He's out there spreading the good word of WebStorm and what they're doing. And he's super cool. So if you're ever at a conference where Jan is, just go talk to him. Really, really chill guy. He'll give you lots of great information. He's always got something cool to share, whether it's stickers or yo-yos or like. Here we go. I've got a bunch of WebStorm stickers that Jan gave me. Those stickers make me super popular with whenever I show up places at my company, I can give them WebStorm stickers. Oh yeah, I keep forgetting that he's good looking always, right? Like I get so nervous. He's so good looking when we hang out that I just get so nervous around him. I can't talk to good looking people. It's just the way it is. So I kind of have to block that part out of my brain. So you're saying that I need to look at the language service provider? Weird. Is it listed in the LSP widget below? Yeah, we're seeing Tailwind listed down here. So it is processing it. We'll try restarting it and see what happens. But yeah, it's definitely processing it, and it is listed here. Got the AI assistant off for now. And it's definitely recognizing this is an analog file. We're getting the cool little analog icon here. So term expected, yeah. Mismatched parameters. It's expecting a string and we gave it height 16. See, we're trying to pull something out of the theme here. There is some weird stuff going on, but again, pre-release software, and this is something I'm always going to say when I'm using pre-release, right? Give good feedback when software is in pre-release. Try not to be harsh. You know, a lot of this stuff is worked on, and like Jan said, a lot of this is maintained. Like this plugin is now maintained by the community, and so because it's maintained by the community, people are giving their time for free, and so don't be harsh. Provide good feedback, because quite often the things that are making you frustrated probably frustrate other people. And if you can take some time to tone back on the harshness, and instead of being harsh, give good feedback, you're likely to get that solved. So I'm always going to say pre-release. We're going to run into issues. There's going to be bugs. It's just the way it is. Don't expect something polished until it's an actual release. But let's see if we can figure out what's going on with this issue here. So in our app component, it's trying to import a module. Let's pull up our app component. So in our app component, it's not recognizing header component, and it's not recognizing header component. This is interesting. I'm getting a lot of null errors here. I'm going to try restarting and just see, because I did just update a plugin, and if that plugin had put us in a bad state and the update fixes that, because it is a little bit weird that I'm getting a lot of nulls here. Oh, now it's going null the other way. Thank you for taking over. Let's go ahead and clear this out. Yeah, and Code Glance hasn't been updated yet. So here we go. So we are being recognized as an analog HTML template for this .analog file. So our plugin's working. What is going? Maybe our header component, header.component. So this is our header component here. And this was all working last week. So I did upgrade today. And one thing to recognize is that analog, when it runs, so this all gets changed into some code behind the scenes, right? and it would be nice to see some of that code so that I could show you guys some of the magic that's happening. But what's going on here when you create an analog component? Where are we using router link in here? Am I using router link in here? I'm not. Oh, I wanted find, not go. Did I hit router link? Oh, I am. Okay, never mind. I am using router link. But behind the scenes, what happens is this actually gets turned into an actual Angular component, and it's exported as a default component. So here in our app component, this should be recognized, but it's not, and we can see that with the error that we're getting here, right? That it can't find the module or its type declarations. And that can't break out of here. I'm just going to kill it and we'll bring it back up again. Open in terminal preview. Okay, so if we do pnpm nx build in our Angular blog, I'm curious. Yeah. So it's definitely not finding that. If we add the verbose to it, it says we can get a stack trace to see what's going on. Oh. I may have done this to myself, which happens quite a bit. Oh, and hey, we got somebody coming in on Vlad. Hey, thanks for joining, man. I've been watching the Twitch chat. I haven't been watching the YouTube chat, but thank you for joining us, Vlad, from YouTube. What I'm seeing in the stack trace is that this is coming from the SWC in the NX Vite. And in this dependencies update, I actually upgraded SWC helpers and I upgraded Vite. I could have done this to myself. Like the TypeScript update from 5.4.2 to 5.4.3 could be a culprit here. The Vite and SWC seems to be more likely if we look at the errors here, right? Because we're seeing the SWC stuff here, and Analog hadn't updated that. I just hit enter, figuring everything was okay. I did see SWC and Vite come through. Let's fix these and put them back, right? So we're at 5.16 and 0.5.2. So let's pull up our package.json. And let's find our SWC helpers. This was at 0.5.2 and our Vite was at 5.16. Let's just make sure I've got that at the right place. Yeah, 0.5.2 and 5.16. Okay. So we will go ahead and do that. So the next thing we can do is let's go ahead and just rename our node modules. No, don't do that. What are you doing that for? Cancel that. That's the dumbest way to do that, guys. Let's just try pnpm install with no frozen lock file and see if it goes back to the versions. It should set us back. I wanted to, yeah, there we go. So we did go back to 5.16. Oh, looks like I made a mess here too. We'll have to fix that. Could be another problem. Let's fix the markdown component too. It should be at 502 instead of 1201. There it is right there. 502. And this, you know, all of these little break, like these could be breaking in. So let's try again. The no lock file. I may have to shut down my editor. So there we go. So now if we do pnpm nx build the Angular blog, cannot find module ANSI styles. Yeah. Yep. Volta list. That's interesting. Because here, if I do a node-v, we're using 2011, but here it's saying we're using node 18. That's really interesting. Because I did set up Volta to use pnpm. We can see it right here. We've got, what if I do pnpx, nx, build Angular dash blog. We're still getting the node 1819. I have to figure that out later. But this is, I'm going to have to shut down the editor here. Background tasks are running. What background task do I have running? What is this? Retrieving completions. We'll report that bug. But let's go ahead and shut this down. Because this is going to allow me to move /node modules to /node modules fold. So now if we list this out, I've got 2 libraries. That's awesome. An underscore and a dot. That's cool. So it looks like the original, oh, that's probably what happened. So now if I just do a pnpmi, it should use all of my stuff, should rebuild my node modules folder. And I should have like the ANSI stuff in there too. So hopefully if this builds, and while this is running, I want to make sure over here on my task manager that I don't have any orphaned command windows. I do have 2 terminal previews open, telling me that one of them is probably orphaned. But we've got all that back. And it looks like I do have a console host that's orphaned. Fun. What happens when you kill processes in the middle of running. But now I should be able to do pnpm nx, or let's do pnpx, nx build, Angular blog. This is looking a bit better. And I think what's going on here is one of my orphan processes has a file locked. I'm going to come over here and kill that orphan command processor. I don't know which one it is, so we'll just try one. And we'll try that one. Yep. You know what? We're going to kill this window. I'm just going to clean up all the command processors. So we're all good there. Kill that one. And background processes. Modern OSs are just crazy complicated. All the stuff they run in the background and all the crazy stuff that's going on. Okay. So I think we're in a good spot here. Everything looks to be dead. And so now, if I get a new preview here, and while this is running, I'm also going to grab, not that. Where did my node modules.old go? Like if I do an ls here, we've got node modules that and node modules.old. So there's that one. Let's go ahead and kill that one. Where is my node modules.old? There it is. We'll go ahead and kill that one too. And that one went away quickly. So this is the old node modules. This is the new one. So now if we do pnpm nx build with our verbose, there we go. So now it ran. Unable to find the VCS context. Great. It doesn't like this header component. And if we go take a look, marked is back where it should be. SWC helpers and V are all where they should be. Huh. We're just going to say that we downgraded some packages. Git commit failed. No, not this again. Oops, let's insert downgraded packages. Great. Git status. Git push. I don't have my public key set up on my, be able to push here though. Getting a git error here. Let's just restart you. Okay. So now I should be able to do my push, right? Yep. Okay. I'm not sure what's causing this error. Cannot find module pages home header component dot analog or its type declarations. Let's go ahead and start this up again. So like we had this problem before, and this may be a problem with the analog files themselves. So one thing we could do, and I don't want to do this, but I'm curious. Refactor. I doubt we've got refactorings for that yet, but here within home, we'll just use NX to generate a new component. So we want an analog component, or an analog page. No, this needs to be a component. It's not a page. So here we'll just generate an Angular component. Thank you for the warning. So here the name will be just our header component. And so we can see that it's putting it into the home directory and it's creating header component. So we're good there. So I don't need to mess with the directory. Do I want to? Because this is going to create a bunch of stuff. But really, if I inline the template in the CSS, it'll only be one file. So it'll be similar to what we've got. So I'm not going to mess with the directory. We could put it in like the home directory. Or not home, but header. So now we see that, we're in the home and then header, and then maybe we'll do that. We'll do this. I want to see if us changing this over to just a regular component instead of an analog component, if there's an issue going on right now. I want to see if that's the issue. So display block, probably not. Like if you're not using Tailwind, I would use this. If you're using Tailwind, I would just add the block to the host classes. We're gonna. Do I have a lot of styles here? I'm not going to inline styles, but I'm going to inline the template. We don't need a module. The prefix, we aren't going to mess with the component selector. Style CSS, type component, view encapsulation we'll leave alone. So all of that is good. We'll go ahead and generate this, and boom. Wait, we updated nx.json. Why did we update nx.json? What do we do with nx.json? Why did we? Okay. It didn't actually update nx.json. It just looked at it. So we've got our header component, and I'm just going to say that we created header component. We need to stage these files. The next thing, these probably don't belong here in the home page anymore. They probably belong in a new folder called components. And so we'll go ahead and grab the header and we're going to move it up here. Yep, go ahead and refactor that. And so now we've got our header component here. So what we're going to do is let's grab our header component and let's bring it over here to the side. And we're going to bring these across. So the first thing we can do is we can just grab this host metadata right away. And this, this is probably a good thing to go over anyway. But right here on the end of this line, we can just grab that and paste it. So a lot of the stuff that's in this metadata can just be brought straight across. The next thing we're going to need to do is inject the theme store. We're also going to have to add themes. There's going to have to be a bunch of things that we're going to have to do. So let's go ahead and grab this template. And we're going to put this template right here. So there's our template. We actually don't have any styles on this, which is fine. So we don't have the theme selected anymore. So this is no longer just a standalone theme. Now we have to add in our class, we need a protected theme selected. And now we've got to add some other stuff. So the theme store, right? We're injecting the theme store. And where do we use the theme store? So it's only used in theme selected. Oh, nope. It is not only used there. So we're gonna bring it in as a protected read only. And then we're going to inject the theme store, which means we need to bring in inject, and we need to bring in theme store. And was that where we imported it from here? Yep. The other thing we have to do that we don't have is we don't have themes. So what did that do for us? When I brought in themes, it's recognizing it here. But themes needs to exist on and this should be a this dot theme store. Set theme. There's that. What's interesting, I'm going to I'm not sure how this is making it to the template here. Oh, it did add it for me. That's what I was thinking. I was like, where is this? It's right here. So it brought in the themes from one thing I think I want to do is we're going to make this a signal. And so now we need to, and this is really cool. That, you know, WebStorm recognizes, hey, we need, it's letting us know, hey, you've got a problem here. So there we go. That's all good. Now our event target, what is our problem here? Event target is possibly null. So to fix that, we can do that. And now it's telling us it's an event target, or value doesn't exist on the event target. But our event, we can do better than this because we know if we look up here that it's a selected event. So we can say that this is an HTML select event. We're going to cheat for a second here. We're going to do as any, like you would. And then we're going to fix this. So we're going to console.log. And actually, we can even do event.log. Wait. Yeah, shouldn't it have done that? There we go. And here we're just going to say event. And then it's going to log our event for us. So there we go. So now we're logging our event. So now we've got our header component converted over to a regular Angular component instead of an analog component. And so now we can go to our app .components. And instead of importing header component from here, we're going to grab it from, yeah, there we go. And now since we don't have a default export, we need that. That should go away. So now if we come back here and we run our build, we'll see if that fixes our issue. I wonder, because we're stuck again. And I wonder if the problem we're having is that whatever issue is being caused by that component import right now is actually crashing our old console. Oh wow. Yeah. So you guys can see I've got a whole bunch of these hosts going on here. These are just zombied hosts. I got to be aware of time today. I think I've mentioned this before, but my mother-in-law is going through chemotherapy right now. And so we're going to head out to her house this afternoon. And thank you, Marcus. I appreciate that. But yeah, we're going to be heading out to her house this afternoon to. She likes Zupa's soup, and so we've told her, well, we're going to go surprise her with some Zupas. One of the things about chemo that I didn't know. Wow, we've got a whole bunch of node processes hanging out. I'm a little bit worried to stop that node process because this node process might be part of WebStorm, but like these ones right here, I want to kill these. Maybe? They keep coming back. Okay. So these ones keep coming back. So that tells me that they're probably being restarted by WebStorm. So we can leave those alone. I've got a bunch of these spawn servers that keep coming back. We'll get rid of those. There's all my OBS. I've got a command processor going on here. We can clean up. And we've got a console host. We can clean up. Okay. That looks good. That's not what I want. I want this window. And now we want a new terminal. Okay. So now pnpm nxbuild angular blog verbose. Boom. Now we're running in production. Running a production build. There we go. Hey, look at that. So I think, oh, no. What do we get? We got, oh yeah, the Vite Nitro stuff is what we're running into again. Because, and this is something that I was talking to Brandon about. I just need to report this error. But the way it's setting up this, and we found this in the last Sunday. We found this in the Vite Nitro dist folder. So it's just creating a weird directory for Windows. And you know we can find this in the angularblog.nitro pre-render, all of that. We could probably, I'm curious if we go kill this folder. We'll just kill the dist folder. And this time we can turn off the verbose because it's adding stuff that we don't need. And now it should build. It's going to have to build everything again because I killed the folder, right? So it's got to rebuild everything. But there we go. That homepage is huge. That is really big. Yeah. Yeah, we definitely want to see that. But yeah, it's failing because of this V Nitro plugin. So it looks like the header component, being an analog file, is what was breaking us. I'm going to leave this file around for right now, but we will be using this component in the meantime. I'm curious now if I do the pnpm nx serve the blog, if this will work. So yeah. The darken article accent class does not exist. If darken article accent is a custom class, make sure it is defined within @layer directive. Okay. But this is a good sign. And I can bring this over here. And there we go. Oh, we've got some weirdness going on. Our styles are all broken. Let's take a look at that. Let's refresh this. Hydration was not enabled. Please make sure that is, but we turned it off a little while ago. So there should be some styles going on here. Oops, I didn't want to view source. I wanted to inspect that. So if we inspect this, so if we look, this has grid gap. That's all working. The article hover, it's not recognizing the article hover. Let's see where that article hover is. So here we're just going to say that we moved to components and fixed compile. So now we serve I want to take a look at the theme selected, but I don't think that that's even going to work right now. Let's bring that forward and let's put this on here. Yeah, the header's not even showing up. The header is not showing up at all. So let's take a look at our app component. And in our app component, we've got our theme store. And up here, oh, yep. That's why that's not showing up. But let's see what's going on with like that page reloaded. Now we should have our header here. Let's kill this and try reserving it. With the errors going on, I'm not sure if the watch is working properly. We also need to throw the, oh, that's why it's not working. It's telling us right here in post CSS. The darken article accent is a custom class. Make sure to define it within a layer directive. So we need to throw a layer around our article accent and our article hover. But I'm curious here why we aren't getting, we're getting the render here. Ether's running in development mode. Our header component is here. Because this is an actual component, now we can self-close it. Our router outlet is working. We need to go into our styles.s or styles.css. I'm getting issues here with Tailwind also. What is Tailwind saying here? Tailwind was terminated. We are inside of a layer. We're inside of the base layer. Term expected, but it is recognizing that there's a term there. There's definitely something going on with my Tailwind here. We could take a look at the settings here. Anyway, so here it's saying article hover. Darken dash article dash accent is right here. With the hover on it. This is inside of a layer because we've got the base layer here. We've definitely got that. So where is this article dash hover? So nested CSS, but CSS nesting has not been configured correctly. Oh, look at that. Why did I do that? I do have nested CSS here. No, it's not nested. I'm telling it which grid area to fit into. So it's the article container. Article container. Within the article container, article container component. So inside of what? Here. It's saying that this doesn't work. Do I need a layer here? Add layer. And we'll put this in the base layer also. No. We can just put it in a layer by itself. And it will just be a dynamic layer. That will be fine. Let's see if that solves any of our issues. Let's go ahead and kill this and just serve it again. It's still with the article stuff. So the main article and the secondary article, it's still struggling there. So it's still struggling with the darken article accent. So adding this layer here doesn't do anything for us. So we'll clean that up. So instead of doing this, what we can do is we can just add a hover class here. Darken dash article dash accent, right? Actually, we don't even need that. We can just do darken article accent. It can always be there. That's fine. Now, if we go back, it looks like that all rebuilt. Okay, and now we've got our hover events back, but we don't have our header anymore. I don't know why. So let's take a look at our header. So if we inspect our header here, oh, it's right here. It is here. Oh, if we do a flex one here, no, we don't want it to grow. But our header component, is here, and our flex is not growing to encompass it. One of the things we need to do is in our header component, and maybe we did that here. Height full background flex. What we didn't do is we want this to also be a block component because we want it to behave like a div. And that's probably what we're missing. So here, our header component, like if we do display block, well, actually, we aren't getting anything in here. header component isn't showing up because this is not the selector for the header component. In the app component, I just changed it to header component. That's not the selector. If we look here, our selector is just header. That's not a good selector. We're going to make it our selector blog-header. And then in our app component, it'll be blog-header. There we go. And that should solve our issue. Yes, it does. So there we go. Okay, a bunch of bugs today, but now if we go like to our dark component, we're good again. If we go to our light, I think these are supposed to be a different color, right? Maybe, I don't remember. I thought this one highlighted with a different color, but I could be wrong. Let's see here. If I look at the article container, now has that in place. We've got the darken accent in the main article. And in our styles.scss, where is the darken article hover? I think we're missing, I think we made them both the same in the container. We just made it article hover, but in the past, this one used to just be darken article, and the other one was darken article accent. So now if we refresh, this one, if we inspect it, now has, it still has the accent on it. We may have to I want to take a look at this one too. The grid area image, I'd like to get that issue cleaned up too. But now if we refresh this, yeah, there we go. So I remembered there being a different color. We introduced a bug last time by using that add apply. And for whatever reason, that add apply doesn't work anymore. But now we can at least get into our articles. I was actually hoping to work on the article page today instead of this, but you know, that's just part of software development, right? Fixing bugs, fixing issues, and we're using. So the .analog files are a pre-release piece of software. So we're using pre-release stuff in our blog, and it could break. It's just kind of the way it goes sometimes. So let's go back to Sunset here. Yeah, there we go. That's what I was expecting. So now that we're here, let's commit this. So this is us fixing up the blog header and CSS. So fixing blog or fixing header components and CSS. TBD Gamer. I started yesterday wanting to work on a new piece of my app. Ended up spending all stream working on adding an auth token. Yeah, to the GraphQL. Yeah, totally get that. And that's kind of the nature of streaming. That's part of why streaming is fun, but it can also be frustrating because totally what TBD Gamer says. And I need to be following you because I didn't get notified that you were streaming. Let's go fix that problem. So over here on Twitch, I would like to pop into some of your streams. And let's not do that. So let's see who I'm following. I want to search for TBD Gamer. There we go. And I think we're at a good place where I can show stuff. Yeah. Can't believe I haven't followed you yet. So yeah, go follow TBD Gamer. He's been a huge help. He's given me a lot of help on the stream. Just been a big supporter. I really appreciate everything you've done. And I definitely should be following you. So there we go. We fixed that issue. Because I was like, you know, I've never been notified when you're streaming. And then I realized maybe I'm not following. Definitely fix that issue. I definitely want to come drop by some streams. Okay, we're where I wanted to start today. I need to look at time. Just be aware of time. I've got about 15 minutes. That is the NX stuff. Isn't upgraded to the beta stuff. That's okay. Let's fix this other issue here. So we're saying grid area image. It's saying that this is nested. We'll fix this so that it doesn't think it's nested. So we're gonna go find grid-area. That's the one. So this is a crazy thing here. Is it because I'm using image, we'll just say container. That should make it so that this is no longer. What's crazy is it's not saying this one's nested or this one is nested. It's only saying the image was. But up here, we'll just add our image-container. Let's just make sure inside of here that everywhere we've got image, there we go. I think we're good. So we'll go ahead and save this. And that should clean up that error. And that's been something that we've been talking about a bit at work. I've started a new project at work. And by new, oh, that's so weird. Why does it think this is nested? I don't know why it thinks this is nested CSS. I mean, we are using nested CSS in other places. Are we? I'm not even sure I'm using nested CSS at all in this project. I mean, we're within the host tag, but why is it specifically complaining about this one? I don't know why it's complaining about this one specifically. I'll have to figure that out. But anyways, I interrupted my trail of thought. With a new project, there are a lot of ways. So like older projects, and you guys will probably see this a lot. If you're working on projects that have been maintained for a while. But when you go compile, or when you're working in your editor, or in your editor, there are a whole bunch of warnings that you just get used to ignoring, right? That can lead to issues. And what I mean by that is, people get so used to seeing all the noise that they miss the signal in your output from your compile and stuff like that, right? And so with your compiles, you want to make there be as little stuff to ignore as possible, right? So like me ignoring this could be an issue. And so to add support for nested declarations, we recommend our bundled Tailwind CSS nesting plugin. It's included directly in the Tailwind CSS package itself. So to use it, all you need to do is add it to your post CSS configuration somewhere before Tailwind. Okay. Do I have a post CSS config? Do. So here's our Tailwind CSS. Let's go take a look at what they're recommending. So plugins. So the Tailwind CSS plugin Tailwind CSS base, Tailwind CSS components, and utilities. Add support for nested declarations. We recommend our bundled Tailwind CSS nesting. It is included directly in the Tailwind CSS package itself. The module.exports here. But our plugins is an object, not an array. So if we open up tailwind.config, we've got the Daisy UI config here. If I wanted to add this using this syntax, so it wants it that way. Oh, okay. No, never mind. Never mind at all. It just wants an empty object. And we can do that. Here we can just do tailwind dash nesting and just give it an empty object, right? So this is the this is weird the way it's. I thought this was an array just because of their theme, but oh, it's Tailwind CSS / nesting. So there we go. We're definitely going to need to restart our build for this one. And I'm worried that by adding this, it may cause some issues, but we'll see. It didn't. So that cleaned up our warning around that. Now if we refresh this, oh, look at that. It did mess some stuff up. So Tailwind is picking this up as being nested for some reason. Don't know why. Let's go back here. And let's just make this image-container and image-container. And down here, we're also going to make this image-container. And it's saying content. Wonder if we've got just some weird what has happened to us here? So now our main article, if we look at this, we're only getting title and content here. Our grid template areas, title and content. But that's not what we've got up here. At that point, we're losing the image, but it's like our medium isn't working. So here's our grid. And it is picking up that it's a call span 2. So medium, it's a call span 2. And within here, oh wow, we've got a whole bunch of stuff going on. So if we look, it's not adding the it's not adding this information here. We're only getting the grid template areas here. And really, we don't even need this outside of here because it doesn't make sense. Well, does it? Not really. If we change this back to just being image and image, it's not going to matter. And now we can come up here and change this back to being image. But this isn't really going to matter because it's not picking up the screen on the media. And I wonder if it's because we're keeping this all inside of host, like a host context, which we don't really need to be inside of the host context here. We can leave the host context there and let everything else just be part of the main context itself. It doesn't like this now. Now what happened? Oh, identifier expected. It does need to be part. Never mind. So here we're reading from the main blurb container. We're looking at the height, that's fine. So we're kind of cheating here, and maybe this needs to be below here. Let's see if that works. The issue we're having, I think, is that these show up after this. And because we're doing that, it's overriding. Yeah, that is the issue. And we could turn off that flex view. So we did have nested CSS. It was marking it in a weird place, but the nested CSS was actually the media screen and not the image. I thought it was saying that this was nested. What was actually happening is that we've got this stuff being nested, and we're taking advantage of the we're taking advantage of this media thing here. The way that we probably should fix this, instead of how we're doing it now, and I just want to make sure everything's good. We are okay. So the real fix is probably this isn't a bad fix, and we can take a look at what's going on. And the reason it was complaining about nested CSS, and maybe it was me moving stuff around. So is this the way it was before? We can go take a look, right? So here, if we go and we look at this history, and see where this was added. So there's the main article blurb, the gradient, the container. There's our breakpoint stuff. So yeah, we did have this wrong. So it's been like this since the beginning, and it's probably needed to complain about it since the beginning. But we can go take a look and see what's going on. So if we close out of our history here, we stage this, and we fixed CSS issues. We push this. So that's a good case where what meant and what the warning actually meant were two different things. And that goes back to the argument that I'm making with the team, that ignoring warnings like that may actually be hiding issues, and an upgrade may bring those issues to the forefront. Let's take a look at what's going on with this code, right? So if we go inspect this, and we take a look at article container, main article, the main article here. So if we take a look at this main article, and we look at the actual CSS that's generated, we should see where are my grid areas? Yeah. We can see that these grid areas are overwritten within itself, right? So this is the same ng host. And so if I uncheck this is the issue we were getting before. But as soon as I check it again, we get back into a better area, right? And the same thing here, right? If I take out the columns, then we've got other issues, right? So what's going on here? The ordering matters. And if we go and move this back up to where it was, we can see what is causing our issue. But the way that this is output in the file, So here we are again, and now let's inspect this. We need to go up just a little bit. No, that is the main article. So when we look, we'll see that the grid template areas are being overwritten. So this is our image title, image content, and this is the columns. And they're being overwritten by this stuff, right? And what does this mean? So if we click on our style here, so this style tag was added. This style tag is added by Angular, right? And so if we come in here, we take a look at this, we can see that, hey, if the media has a minimum width of 768 pixels, then we drop in this stuff, right? Same here with the image. So our image gets dropped in also, right? This is the image class that we're nesting in here. But so we drop these two right here only if the media is at this size. But then afterwards, we've got the same stuff. What does this do? Well, we drop these two, and then immediately in the file, we say, oh yeah, just kidding. Overwrite it with this and this, right? That's a problem. And the reason that's a problem is that, our grid template areas are being overwritten with this grid template areas, and our grid template rows are being overwritten with this grid template rows. And so order matters. When we swap this around, these now become what's overriding the other ones. And so, now when we go take a look, here's our styles. And again, we can see that this is overridden in the style tag. But when we click and we go take a look at our style tag, we can see that, hey, first we write down the columns and rows and everything, and then we add the the overrides. So now this is overriding this because it shows up later in the file, and that's one of the tricks you can do with CSS. Is you can have a default value, and then you can use something like supports or things like that and override it, because as soon as it encounters it, it's going to go, oh yeah, we'll just replace it, right? And so by fixing the nesting, we were actually the broken nesting was allowing it to work. But as soon as we upgraded Daisy, and as soon as we upgraded Post CSS, and it wasn't crashing or whatever was happening with the way we had it written before with the nested stuff, suddenly now the sins that we were committing and it was warning us about were we were able to see them. And so, well, that's interesting. That's not going back to home now. We've got another issue here. This should be routing us back to home. So I'm not sure what's going on there. We'll have to take a look at that. But that was why our articles were broken that way. One thing down. Oh, and I'm a little bit over. We'll fix the other things tomorrow. We're going to fix the source, and we're going to fix this click. This should be, so if I'm here, this should take us back to the home. But we got a lot of that cleaned up. We also figured out what the nested styles meant. We fixed the nested styles. Tomorrow, I need to go take a look at my calendar really quick. I'm taking a look at that over here because, yeah. So tomorrow, I have a meeting just before streaming. I'm not going to cancel streaming tomorrow. So we may kick off streaming without me being prepared. So you guys may see me doing some setup at the beginning of the stream. But I will be here tomorrow at 5:30. I'm not going to skip tomorrow again. And then I'll be back on Thursday also, where we're going to work through this stuff. We're going to get this figured out, and we're going to get to the point where we're getting this from like a CMS of some sort. So that's the goal. The styling world is a tough one. It is a tough one, and I do like to explain. Once I understand the issue, I definitely like to explain it. I'm currently trying to balance features with looks, and it takes so long once I start to put. And that's the point. Yeah. It takes a long time because we don't flex that styling muscle as much. At least I don't. There are some devs out there that are amazing, and that's why I recommend watching somebody like Kevin Powell. He's out there flexing that style muscle a lot, and so his understanding of CSS and styling is light years beyond mine, right? And that's why it's taking us so long. Right. If I'd taken the time to solve the issue with the nesting, then we would have seen this, and then we would have figured out, oh yeah, the areas and the columns are different. We need to fix that. It works out in the end, but it's definitely like most other muscles, right? If you exercise it regularly, it gets stronger. If you don't, it gets weaker and can atrophy, right? You can lose some of your skills if you don't use them enough. So I definitely recommend making sure you keep those up. But yeah, we will be back tomorrow. Thank you, TBD Gamer, for being here. Thank you, Jan, for being here. Thank you, everybody else, for showing up and just supporting the stream. Tomorrow, 5:30 p.m. I will notify you guys if I need to start a little bit later. I may have to. We're going over some interviewing stuff. I'm at work on what's called a bill raiser. We're revamping the way we do hiring, and as a bill raiser, my job is to go over all of the stuff that was done in an interview, make sure that it was done in a fair way, and make sure that we aren't introducing biases and things like that into our interviewing process. And then also making sure that we were asking good questions so that people are given the best chance to succeed. That's what I'm going to be doing just before this, or just before the stream tomorrow. So if I need to push it back a little bit, I'll let everybody know on Twitter and LinkedIn.